What is up, everybody? Just like every other podcast, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that notification bell. You guys know what to do. Welcome on what is it? It's a Saturday. Jeez, I'm already losing what day of the week it is. It's been a long week, but it's finally the weekend, so I'm finally off of work. I hope everybody's having a great weekend. We got some things to cover in the Bryan Kohberger case. Before we do, I want to remind everybody to hit the like button, subscribe, ring the notification bell. I also want to remind everybody that Steelers fans' birthday wish thing is still going on. Her birthday hasn't happened quite yet, but we'll be celebrating that here soon enough. So I want to thank everybody who's gotten her something. She's super appreciative of that. But without further ado, let's get on to today's conversation. And we have a special guest. We're going to be bringing in Dr. Vona. How's it going, Doctor?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. It's good to have you. Good to see you. Hope everything's going well.
Yes, thank you, everyone, for all of your prayers and stuff. He's in a better place.
Yes, definitely. And again, if you need anything, let us know.
I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And so without further ado, we have some crime scene photos that have been released over the last few days. We looked at a couple of them a few days ago that were dropped. There's been a few more that have come in. You know, some of them are a little bit graphic, so I'm not going to show all of them. You know, I think there's going to be one that has Ethan, I believe, blurred out, and we're just going to zoom in past it because there's some things I want to look at on the side. I really don't want to focus on what's blurred or any of those things out of respect for the family members. But, you know, a lot of people want to know my understanding of the crime scene, what I'm seeing, you know, the splatter and stuff like that, which I'm not the best person to ask for that, to be 110% honest with you. I'm not a CSI guy, but on Monday, we're bringing in former CSI Steve from True Crime Web to break those things down. But today, we're just going to get a reaction, kind of point out some of the things that we see and stuff like that. Have you had an opportunity to see these images, Dr. Vona?
I have, briefly. I definitely have. At least I think I have. I've seen about, was there like 15 or so? There might have been a few more that came out since then, but I've seen most, I think.
Yeah.
About to find out.
Yeah, we are. I'm going to remove the comments from the side, and we're going to make ourselves small so everybody can see. So this is one of the images that came out. This is obviously I believe in Xana's room. There's the rolled up $2 bill that was talked about in certain documents. Something's blurred out there.
Can you point to it with your mouse? Like, will it work on the screen? Oh, there you go. That way people see. There you go.
You got the $2. You have an ID here. And this is obviously off of NBC Nightly News. Go ahead.
That's like normal to see a credit, like I'm not, I don't think it's abnormal to see a credit card or an ID type thing when somebody is crushing something. But I think it's also important to note that they said that there was no illicit drugs in their system, which means that this was probably prescribed.
That's what I've been saying.
Used, but it was probably prescribed.
That's what I've been saying. And when you look at the documents, they refer to that Xana would, and again, it sucks to say these things because these are victims, and I don't really want to go into, you know, some of their personal things like this. But she would, according to Bethany and some of the other persons that talked to officers, that she snorted the Adderall.
Yep.
And that he would take it. He being Ethan would take it, and this was something that they did when they drank. And as I said, I came to the same conclusion. They said there was no illicit drugs. It was more of probably an abuse of prescribed drugs that they had in there. Which is why they came out clean.
I agree.
Now you have what looks like blood smeared all over the bottom here on the ground, on the beer cans and stuff like that.
Is that a broken piece of desk?
Where at?
Right above the beer cans, like. See
right here?
Yeah. See how it comes down? Like if you keep coming towards our pictures, it's like a white. Yeah, right. You're on it right now. You were just on it. Yeah, that right there. Is that like broken out? See how it looks like it's pulled out?
Yeah, it does kind of look pulled out. Huh. I never noticed that. It could be.
Have me on the show.
There you go.
Just kidding.
Here are some drops. To me, this is indicating. So if we go back one, I don't know if you can see the ground here. I think room. This could be Xana's, because I think there's a picture where you can see into Xana's room, and the ground kind of looks like this as well. But there's some drops, um, probably an indication of somebody standing there, in my opinion, probably holding the knife.
Me too. Should we explain to people why we both think that? I think that because the droplets are round. So if it was from cast off, they might be more oblong. So it kind of looks like if you've ever cut yourself and blood's like
Just dripped.
Yes, that's what it looks like to me. So I think that's probably right what you said, that it's probably just coming off of the knife or something.
Here's an image of the second floor party house. I mean, you see some of these. You see the red Solo cups here. Right here next to it is a beer pong table, and there was some red cups that were kind of knocked over. I think that Bryan Kohberger or Xana, when they ran through here, maybe even Murphy when he ran down, ran into the table here and knocked some of these red Solo cups off. In fact,
I was going to say, if you look at the other side of the table, it looks like the one side, like one, I mean, I don't know if it was played or not, but the one side, there's like no Solo cups missing, and the other side there is. So
yeah.
could it also be, I've never been drunk before, you guys. I know it's crazy, but could it be if anybody plays beer pong, if you lose, doesn't everybody have to like take you take your cup and you drink it? So could it just be that they took their cup and like walked away and then like slammed it down when they were done? Because I thought about that too.
Well, apparently, there's a document, and I didn't go through it all, but there's a document that lists all the pictures that they plan on releasing. There's 200 of them, or 200 plus, and on there it says that there's blood on the beer pong table.
Oh.
And if you look here on this cup, this could be lipstick, but it could also be smeared.
That's a good call, Daniel. That looks like a lipstick.
Yeah, it could be lipstick, but it's red, so just kind of wanted to point that out.
Good call.
So this is the one we're going to just kind of zoom in here. Now, I believe this is going to be Ethan and Xana. This is going to be Xana's bedroom. She's probably further this way. It looks like majority of I couldn't tell, but looks like a lot of splatter.
Yeah, and wasn't his head like and this is with all due respect to the victims, Kaylee, Madison, Ethan, and Xana, but didn't they say that his head was in between the bed and the wall? So I don't even know that we would see that like another pile, the one that at least fell outside the house. Side.
Yeah, no, but this is what they probably meant when they said that they thought that Xana fought like hell.
Mm-hmm.
So if what they're describing is Xana fighting like hell, then this is probably because you have the splatter in different directions and stuff like that. It's horrible.
And on the white desk, it looks almost like arterial spray. Oh, if you go back to the white desk real quick, I didn't notice on the top part of the white, not desk, whatever that is, that end table that we were just looking at, it looked like, if you look like up here at the top, you see, doesn't that look like a hand? If you go up, oh, not a hand, but see all that smear right there?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It definitely could be.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
It is. It really is. I mean, right here too, she could have grabbed at the sheets.
Yes. I know a lot of people are talking because in the notes, it says, like in the documents, it says that Maddie had the pink blanket, but it doesn't say that Xana didn't have a pink blanket. You know what I mean? It just says that he was covered half with a blanket.
Yeah.
So I think people are mixing that picture up, not knowing whose room it is, but it's my opinion that it's Xana's room.
Yeah. Well, where's this at? See, this is the one weird thing is, right? Because you have all this stuff in the corner.
Xana's room. That's the same other picture. And isn't this weird? Look, that's not broken off.
Right.
No, remember I just said that it was broken off on the bottom?
Yeah. What I'm saying is,
weird though.
In this image, where is it at?
I think it's like back here more.
Back towards where behind the photographer.
Yes, or like to the side of the photographer.
Well, I mean, you can see this. Yeah, you know what? There was like a little like indent area in there, so it could have been. And this is up against the window.
Yes, and this is the one that we see the rolled up bill too. So I feel like we already knew that that was in Xana's room. It has to be one of the two rooms because there's blood
Right.
over there by the Coors Light. I just think it's weird that I'm seeing now that in the one picture, the desk on the bottom, that piece of wood is broken off, and then on this one, it's not broken off.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what could have done that. Why would it be broken in one picture and not the other?
Probably leaned back. Well, and maybe the angle too. The angle made it look like it's broken off. This looks like a Taco Bell bag. I
Mm-hmm.
think Ethan is who was really into Taco Bell.
Yep. Yeah, he was. In the one documentary, they said that he used to open up all of his packets first so that he didn't have to stop eating to open them up, like the fire sauce and stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, and this one is I believe Kaylee's room or Maddie's room with Kaylee. Yeah. A lot of cast off.
And that's arterial spray, I think, further down towards the pillow on the wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, even on the comforter.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot.
I wonder, I know this is, with all, respect and stuff, but didn't they think that Kaylee was up in the corner? Does this like photo make that?
No. It doesn't seem to be the case.
That she was in the corner?
I don't think so.
No, me either, right? I would think that's
well,
I don't know.
No. I don't know. It doesn't look like there's an impression that was left back there. Like, let's just say they've already moved her from the back, and I would have anticipated more blood along the back end of the wall. This is probably more of an indication. The coroner initially said that most of them or all of them were attacked while they were asleep. At least that was the initial thought. And, yeah. I mean, but the thing is too, like if she's not like in the corner,
no,
then it kind of changes a little bit because it seemed like he was kind of chasing her, right? And that's why maybe the ferocity of the injuries were so bad was because he was trying to silence her so quick because he had gone after Maddie and maybe she woke up.
Yeah. This is sad.
It seems like he just attacked her.
It feels like every time the family gets answers or what they think are answers, something changes. Like that has to be so frustrating for them.
Yeah.
Oh, the one with the dog. Oh, this.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's hard to see in this image, but he's actually laying right here. His head's right there. Mm-hmm. This is leg. And so according to the documents, this door was already open. And this must be when they came in there, and this is how the door was found. Right? So the door was found like this, and the dog underneath because in the documents it states that Sergeant Gunnarsson had to direct somebody to close the door.
I thought it said they found him in the bed.
He was in the bed, and then they placed him underneath under the desk. And then it takes some coaxing to get him out. And at first, when I read that they placed him under the desk, I was like, man, they must have a crate or something, because he just, he stayed there. But no, they wanted to close the door, so it made more sense that he was just under the desk.
I would think that he was. I mean, just in my opinion, it sounds like he would be on the bed, and then when they came in, he gets scared and he goes under the desk. I don't even know how I would coax my dog under a desk.
I don't know. But like this kind of tells you, so if you're Bryan Kohberger and you're entering into this room, you're really going to have to open the door and turn in to see if somebody's in bed.
That is true.
And so if he's just touching things and leaving the door open, one of the things that I've always wondered was maybe Kaylee was the target, right? Now, there's a few things that kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Muddy the waters there, because there's some other things that we know. So we know that Xana's on TikTok till about 4:16 a.m. and I know the PCA says 412. We've looked at the documents. The warrant from TikTok came back on April of 2023, and on that one said 4:16 a.m. is when she's on TikTok. And so it makes a little bit of sense when we find out that the audio with the noise from the next door neighbor's house starts close to about 4:17. And so that told me that whatever, something interrupted Xana's TikToking, and that she went upstairs. Dylan hears somebody going upstairs, then coming downstairs with Murphy. So that told me that that was Murphy that interrupted her TikToking, because in order for Xana to go upstairs with Murphy, Murphy would have had to have come downstairs and interrupted that. And so to me, if Bryan Kohberger went into this house and he got in there, from the Linda Lane footage, he's parking back there just before 4:08 a.m. Let's just say it takes him a minute and a half to get in the house and change. He's in there by 4:10. That's a 6-minute difference between the time that he's into the house and Murphy is interrupting Xana's TikToking. And so that's a long period of time. So for me, it felt like if he went up the stairs and opened Kaylee's room first, I would have assumed that Murphy would have gone downstairs and interrupted Xana much sooner than 4:16.
Me too.
You get what I'm saying?
I always thought, what about if Kaylee was like in her room with Murphy, hears something going on in Maddie's room, and goes to investigate?
The chief was asked about that, and to me, I thought that was a possibility, but I didn't think so, based on some of the things that were said. And I had said, I'm pretty sure we're going to find out that some of the stab wounds went through the covers, and so she was underneath the blankets, and since she was on the inside, it made it unlikely. And sure enough, that was one of the things that, because they said that they believe that they were asleep in the room. I was like, if they believe that they were asleep in the room, it's because there's some evidence that she wasn't like on top of the cover. She was probably underneath in her pajamas and things of that nature that made them believe that she was asleep in the room already. And sure enough, that was exactly what the now chief of police for Moscow Police Department came out and said. And so, they don't believe that be the case. Maybe at one point, Kaylee went to bed in her own room at one point, but before Bryan Kohberger made entry into that house, she had gone into Maddie's room and gone to bed.
It's so sad.
Now, what we also do know is that Murphy, when they got in there, he was found on the bed. And so I would assume that's his normal thing to do. So let's just say that if Kaylee went to go sleep in Maddie's room and Murphy was left in Kaylee's bedroom, he probably went to sleep on the bed. It seems like, that would be his MO, so to speak. And so, to me, I felt that if Bryan Kohberger opened that first door, even though he doesn't want to touch things more than once, it's pretty crazy to leave the door open if he sees a dog on the bed.
That is true, because the dog would have ran downstairs. You're right, much sooner.
Or I mean, even if you open the door and you're in the house and you're not supposed to be there, and you see a dog, don't you think you'd close it?
Yeah. Do you think the dog didn't bark at first or whatever because he maybe knew of Bryan from being out in the back? And again, this is just my own speculation, but from some of the documents, it makes it sound like it doesn't say he was lurking in the background, but it says that there was noises and more than one person thought there. So could it be that he was and maybe that's why he spared Murphy too, is because he built a relationship with him? I know that sounds ridiculous, but that could be very possible, because why else wouldn't the dog bark?
Well, I think if the dog was behind the closed doors, he may have heard what was going on, but may not have completely understood what was happening. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was at the door, kind of going back and forth.
That makes sense.
I don't know. I don't think that Bryan Kohberger actually had a relationship with the dog prior, even though all those things are said. Those type of dogs shed a lot of hair, and I think it'd be very difficult, even though he was able to get out a lot of stuff, to not find a hair in his apartment or any of those things. It's already kind of tough to imagine. You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
What he was able to do, but to add in multiple interactions with the dog, that would make it even tougher. But it's a possibility. To me, I think that Murphy was a puppy. He was scared, and he ran downstairs. I think, me personally, I thought, all right, Kohberger went into Maddie's room, saw two people there, was fairly upset that there was a second person there, and took out his frustrations on the second person because that was not part of his plan. I don't think he knew who that person was. That person could have been one of the other roommates in the house. That person could have been a sorority sister of Maddie's. That could have been a relative of Maddie's visiting. That could have been a number of people. And so, to me, his target had to have also been Kaylee, because if he's walking out of that second floor or that third floor after committing this crime with these two young ladies, there is no purpose in opening Kaylee's door.
Mm-mm.
You get what I'm saying? He even if he thinks that somebody may have woken up, I mean, he's in the same exact scenario as when he exited the building, albeit probably more exhausted, but seeing Dylan. You have somebody alert that's awake, possibly calling 911, those type of things. And so, to me, I think if he would have thought somebody was awake in that room, calling 911, he's probably leaving.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what happened. So I think Murphy was probably quiet, but waiting at the door, like, what the heck's going on? And when the door opens, I think he bolts right by him. And I think this happens at about 4:16, maybe a little bit early, about 4:15 and 40 seconds or so. Then he gets to Xana's room about 4:16. She turns off her TikTok and decides to take him up the stairs. Halfway up the stairs, or a little bit above the staircase, I believe there's an interaction there. Now, I don't think that there's an attack. I don't think that that's where Bryan Kohberger started his assault on Xana, but I do think that they saw each other. And the reason I think that they saw each other is because Murphy ran outside the back sliding glass door, did not chase after Xana. So, like, for instance, I think that if Xana was going up the stairs, got the heebie-jeebies, and turned around and ran, Murphy's probably going to run with her. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but
I do. I could see why
doesn't.
he would run outside. He probably. I mean, that's where the dog felt safer, right? And Xana has like Ethan in the room, so
Right.
I'm sure that also she was probably trying to run to Ethan, like, to save me type thing. Even though, I mean, you don't think like that in the moment, but just spur the moment or subconsciously. So I could see why the dog would run outside and she would run to her room.
But here's the one kicker, right? Here's the one thing that bothers me about it is, if we look at this doorknob, doesn't, if Bryan Kohberger opened this door second, why isn't there blood on the doorknob?
So maybe he opened. Oh, wait, didn't they say that the door was shut when they first got there?
No.
Or no, right, because the dog goes outside.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point.
Because he obviously would have used. Now, okay, so we have another document that we just went over. And in that document, it indicates that the murders could have happened in as little as 2 minutes and as long as 4 minutes. And that accounted for every strike, every walk, every step, everything. They accounted for all the blood splatter, all the injuries. So it was fairly quickly. He was in he was in Maddie's room for a while, we can say. Maybe he cleaned up a little bit.
Mm.
Do you think maybe he changed his gloves in between going from one room to another?
Maybe thinking that he was done at that point because that was his plan, and then see Xana and now the plan changes. I don't think he would then put his gloves back on. So I would think that, in my opinion...
Well, he was found changing the garbage with 4 pairs of gloves. Maybe he took a couple of extra pairs for this.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
Maybe he had them layered and was taking them off like one and layer at a time.
That's very plausible. That's very possible. I mean, you kind of risk, though. Do you think maybe he put some on over him? Because, I mean, if you take one off, I mean, there's the possibility that it tore and you don't know. One of the underlying ones tear.
Wouldn't the top one tear if the underneath tore?
I don't know. I mean, perhaps, but if you have like longer nails or something like that, maybe perhaps that could tear one of the closer ones than it would one of the outer ones.
They also have the ones that are like thicker for cutting.
Yeah.
He could have had multiple pairs of them on with gloves. I mean, he could have just had he could have multiple gloves on, and then from scene to scene, he takes a layer of gloves off, and that's why we don't see blood on the doorknob.
That's true. And there's not like this trail going from like, I mean, obviously, in my opinion, we probably aren't going to see much of a trail. He also has apparently a container or canister that he's walking around like this with.
What do you think that is? Like, I guess to put everything in?
Probably. I mean, if he is changing his gloves or putting different gloves on, you know, he may be putting them in that canister.
I was thinking maybe he had like a fanny pack one, because Dylan says that when she sees him, they said she puts her arms out and then comes in like this, almost like he's like, so I'm like, what if that was like a fanny pack and he was putting stuff in that? So he could be hands-free.
It could be. But I mean, it sounds like, according to what Dylan saw, that he was carrying this thing with both hands and that something was sticking out of it like an arrow. And so we can, I mean, obviously assume that that's probably the knife.
He probably rolled everything up and then was carrying it out.
Rolled it up in what?
His clothes. He probably.
So you think he took his clothes off in Xana's room?
Yeah, he could have. And that could be why he doesn't do anything to Dylan, because he doesn't want to risk. Like, what would he do? That wouldn't be part of his plan, to get another layer of clothes dirty. So, or it could just be that he wanted to make sure he didn't trip over the step, because if he trips over the step, then he adds DNA, right? So I feel like it could be so many things. And unfortunately, in this scenario, because of his personality disorder, I don't think we're ever really going to know the truth, because even if he tells us someday, how do we know that that's really what it was? Do you know what I mean? That's the one thing that's annoying.
And Easy, I think it went over your head a little bit. What I was talking about is a container to hold everything, you know, gloves, knives, everything, as he goes from one part of another, and eventually his clothes too. Sorry if it went over your head. And so, you know, to me, I just
like that he's holding. Remember, she said like it looked like a vacuum attachment. Could that just be the knife? Like, if you look at the one vacuum,
that's what I'm thinking it is.
With. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
She just isn't thinking that that's what it is, because she isn't thinking that there's somebody in her house right now doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. I just felt like, man, there would be there should be some, if this is the second door. See, because it's confusing to me if it's the first door, because if it's the first door he opens, all right, that makes sense. I mean, Murphy would have to go downstairs. Maybe it took Murphy a minute to get out of bed, you know. I just feel that if he like looked inside and he saw like a dog there, for one, I think you probably want to close that door, because you know, that dog can do a lot of different things. I mean, the dog can come up behind you and bite you while you're.
There's no blood splatter. There's no blood splatter anywhere over here. Like, you would think that there would be a drop of blood somewhere.
Yeah.
There's nothing on the floor. They don't take a picture of the floor right there. At least not that we've seen.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. I mean, really good if he opened this one second, he just took the lives of two people. You know, and according, I mean, we just saw the pictures of the bed. He would have had to have been on that bed especially to cross over to get to where Kaylee was, and to have caused and inflicted the damage. Then he had to get off of the bed. Mm-hmm. And so these are all moments where he's touching things. I mean, he's going to have to push himself off. He's not going to, you know what I'm saying? And so, how he gets from that bedroom into this one, if this one is the second one, without it's weird. I would have expected there been a bloody handprint on there.
So now that you're saying that, let's say he did layer up his gloves and he takes the layer of gloves on. It could be that Xana didn't necessarily like interrupt him. It could be that like she was coming to see and he was already on his way down the stairs, because he already, you know, took his gloves off. So I think like the narrative now is that like she interrupted him and he like quickly leaves, which is why he leaves the sheath. But it could just be that he dropped the sheath, was taking his gloves off as if he was done the crime, starts to go downstairs and sees Xana, and then that's it.
It's possible. You know, that's definitely possible. You know, Dylan says that she thought she heard who she thought was Kaylee go almost all the way up, if not all the way up to the third floor. You know, to me, I'm assuming like if, and again, I'm trying to put some logic and sense into a illogical and insensual crime, is if he opens the door second and Murphy runs out and runs down the stairs, you have one or two options. It's either you're gonna you know where you came in through, so you're gonna run out and you're gonna run out the back door and get out of there, or you're gonna wait up there and see what happens, right? See who comes up, maybe surprise somebody, and you know, I think that he would have been a lot further down the stairs had he decided to leave at that moment. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah,
for
but I
for her
don't
to
know.
go up the stairs a
I don't
little
know.
bit, I think he
Yeah,
waited.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying, I think for him to go
You think
up
he
the
heard her?
stair,
You think he heard? You think he heard her coming?
I think it's possible he heard her coming. I mean, it's a lot of people say that you could hear a lot in those moments, and probably his senses are heightened. The dog just ran by him. He's probably listening out at that point for somebody.
I would assume that you would listen anyway, regardless, just so that you know whether the coast is clear.
Yeah, but I mean, he's also got like some tunnel vision going on. He's left a knife sheath because of it.
That is true.
It's in my opinion, I don't think he even hears Dylan's first cry out, because Dylan calls out for Kaylee twice. And so I don't think he even hears that.
No, I agree with that. That's absolutely possible. My question is, when he's leaving downstairs, like when we get back to the picture, the other pictures, how does he walk out? Like, how Dylan says that he just walks out and then goes out? Isn't it like when you have to? I mean, maybe it's just me and I have like a big butt or something, but I feel like I would have had to turn sideways.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about with the table, like so close? He obviously did because he leaves, but I wonder like why there isn't blood even on the corner of it, as if he like touched it or something.
Yeah. Now, for those saying that this room is this Kaylee's room, there's a sliding glass door. There's the curtain for the sliding glass door out the third floor, which is closed, by the way. A lot of people were asking, and people are saying, does it look like it was packed, ready to go? No, it doesn't. But I had said this a while ago. I had asked Christy a long time ago if she had moved out, and they said not yet, that she hadn't planned. She hadn't moved out yet, that she had this room until June or something like that, to the end of the next semester. And so she was going to be going back and forth and anticipated using it as storage because she had to pay for it anyways.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. And I know that this is, or not know, but I think this is her room because one, you see the K in the background, the pink K. And then two, if you look in other pictures, like in better days, you see that this is actually like where her TV and everything is. It's behind like closet doors that like opens up that spot.
Yeah.
So this is definitely, in my opinion, Kaylee's room.
Yeah, 100%. And you also have this is the TV that you could see from the outside that said something was disconnected or whatever. So yeah, 100%. So to me, I mean, that's just the biggest question mark for me is, well, wait a minute. I don't know. What do you think about that?
They could have just been moving furniture and nicked it. I do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was going to say, this is white. You should be able to see blood on it. There's nothing in there.
Nothing.
And I see this one little speck right there. I was like, well, wait a minute. There's one thing there, but no. Now here's the back sliding glass door. I'm assuming this is fairly early on. There's still some snow back here. This is about the width that Bryan Kohberger opened the door to get in and out. Now it appears that he comes this way and back. When I was looking at it, I can see this footprint is going towards the back. This footprint is coming towards that. So if this is his footprints, it just kind of shows that he kind of went around the stump and this way.
You know what else? It also looks different than the latent. I mean, I don't know. Do we ever see the latent footprint, or did I just make it up in my head? Because that is very possible. Where like not make it up, but like where you hear about it so much that you think it in your head. But I feel like this doesn't look like a Van's shoe, which just tells me that might not have been his shoe print in front of Dylan's door. It could have been Dylan walking out of the room. If she still had shoes. I mean, it could have been anybody. I feel like it could have been. So like, do you see what I mean? Like there's like a check pattern on the bottom of Van shoes, and that looks like boots.
I was gonna say, I was like, we haven't seen the lane footprint, but this has a shape of boots, not the pointier shape of Vans.
So maybe what
I
I'm thinking of is that we've seen pictures of the bottom of vans, but I feel like this looks totally different, and this looks like boots, which I would assume that you would probably wear boots as opposed to vans.
right.
Situation.
And I know people are saying that it hadn't snowed yet or whatnot. There was snow in the back area of the house. I had seen the drone footage. I have it somewhere. I have to go find it. But so in these, so back here are these trees, right? And this hillside. So this part stays pretty shaded from the sun, unlike the front of the house where the sun it beats on it throughout the day. And so the snow will dissipate in the front a lot faster and quicker than it does in the back. And in fact, some of these spots that don't get any sunshine that are shaded throughout the entire day will maintain snow. But it is possible this could have been the day after that.
I was going to say, so being from where I'm at, and we get snow sometimes too, it could also just be that they shoveled over here the walkway, and when you shovel, you usually put it on top of other snow. So even if the snow was all melting at the same rate, the other snow would take longer to melt because it was on top of, like,
Yeah.
if you made a path to walk.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now this one's definitely Maddie's room. This is Maddie's clothing. You can tell that I pointed it out in the grub truck. You can see these pants and these boots that Maddie was wearing.
Definitely.
And here you can see the drops of blood, which is very similar to like the very first picture that we looked at that I said it looked potentially was. So this must mean that he stood over for a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. He's so gross.
And this is where the foot of the bed would have been. And so he looked there. And like I said, if Xana gets interrupted by her TikToking at 4:16, and it's because shortly before that, Bryan Kohberger has opened Kaylee's door and Murphy's running downstairs to her. He was in there for about 4:09 to about 4:15. I mean, about 6 minutes.
Mm.
And it could have taken out. Now, they said that it would have taken him 2 to 4 minutes to complete all 4 murders and account for all of the steps taken, the walking, going up and down, all of the injuries, all the blood splatter, all the wounds. You know, that would mean for half of it, for Maddie's room, it would have been 1 to 2 minutes.
Yeah, you're right.
That it would have taken for him to complete this murder. Yet he was in there for 6.
Which
at
means
minimum.
Which tells me that that's where he wanted. That was his target, that room, because he spends time in there. Could it be that he goes to this room first because this is the target, and then when he leaves, maybe checks for Kaylee's room just to see if like Jack or someone's in there to see if he needs to like fight someone off?
But why would he need to? I mean, he could just leave.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Unless he was still enraged. No, you're right. I don't know. I'm trying to make it make sense.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it just means that his target was. It was either he went into Kaylee's room first and didn't find her, and then went into Maddie's room and raged out in there, and then Xana was collateral because he met her in the stairway. Or Maddie and Kaylee were both the target, and he went straight into Maddie's room and then went into Kaylee's room. You know, I mean, he would have. That's the other thing too. I mean, Kaylee would have definitely had to have been a target because he just took the lives of. Let's just say his goal was Maddie and Kaylee only, right? He went in there. Now he's committed, or just Maddie. He's went in there. He's now just committed 2 homicides, and then opening the door to do a third. He must have really wanted Kaylee if it went into that in that order. You know what I mean? Because if it was just Maddie, he could have just like left.
If Kaylee's was second, though, wouldn't he know that he already attacked Kaylee? Or do you think
he would have had to have known that was Kaylee in the bed?
Right. So then why would he open the door again after that?
Or how would he know that was Kaylee? I mean, it was dark. It's unfamiliar.
You think that maybe he didn't know if it was Kaylee?
I don't think he knew it was Kaylee. I don't think he.
That makes sense. That makes it make sense. If he didn't know for a fact that was Kaylee because it was dark and he was checking on his way out to see, and then Murphy runs out, absolutely. That actually makes sense.
I mean, how would he know that it was Kaylee?
You probably wouldn't. I don't know why I assume that he did.
Because, I mean, it could have been it could have been Bethany. It could have been Dylan. It could have been Maddie's sorority sister, could have been
1,000%.
Ashlyn Couch, it could have been Emily, it could have been so many people that she knows. It could have been family coming in from out of town because it was, parents' weekend the weekend before, or some of those things. So, who was in bed with her could have been a number of people.
Yes, and he could have been checking Kaylee's room just to make sure to see if it was her or not. And then if not, he knew what he was going to do.
And the fact that Kaylee had a bedroom there probably made him think that it was less likely that it was Kaylee.
Yes. And because she has a dog, so he probably just assumed that she would be sleeping with her dog in her room. That is actually, Daniel, in my opinion, that's the most plausible scenario.
Yeah, I think his target was both of them.
Oh, for sure. I always thought that it was the girls that he couldn't get.
Mm-hmm.
So that does make sense to me, but this is the most plausible. Like, I'm literally trying to put it all together in my head, and that makes the most sense if he didn't know for sure that it was Kaylee in the bed, and he goes and checks, afterwards, and then maybe Xana comes up because the dog runs down.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, for 100% for me, I think that's the logical thing as far as where he goes, his movements. I strongly suspect that, if Xana doesn't go up the stairs, he may have left at that moment.
That's so sad to think.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think he still would have left the K-bar knife. I think he was just so tunnel vision throughout this entire thing and mesmerized. And I think he overlooked it. I don't think Xana interrupted him, and that was the reason he forgot it. I think he opened the door. Murphy ran downstairs, and it created a whole new set of problems for him. And so,
isn't the Jack in the Box bag in the kitchen? So doesn't that mean that Xana goes to the kitchen to put her Jack in the Box bag down and maybe sees the kitchen door open?
That's a possibility. That was one of the things that I thought as well. I mean, I don't know. I think she did that ahead of time, to be honest with you. I think when she's walking up the stairs and says, I think someone's here, might be because she sees the backsliding glass door.
Mm.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I would think, she did it before then, because we see that the DoorDash, unless she ate her food in under 5 minutes, because I think on the time, it looks like there was a 5 minute in between when the DoorDash driver leaves and he comes. So maybe she ate it that soon and then goes out before the doors open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or she went up because she could have gone up the stairs, just threw the bag there, took her food with her into her room, and ate on her bed.
Do you want to know what drives me nuts about this picture? When you look at other pictures from when this first happened, remember when there was reporters and stuff and they were taking pictures into the windows because they weren't boarded up yet? This beer bottle it's somewhere else. And I don't know if you see the knife there. That's probably the knife that
that Hunter put left.
Yeah, right down there. But even some the wine glasses and stuff, there's things that are moved. Why would they move stuff? This is one of my questions I had for you. I was thinking of questions. Why would they? I don't know if you know this, but why would they move stuff off of a counter and gather it all on another table somewhere?
Probably because of the sheer amount of stuff. I wouldn't have.
To the evidence bag.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's Monday morning quarterbacking, but to a certain extent, yeah, I agree that they probably should have put in an evidence bag. I would have wanted a bag and tagged everything. We're going to go through some of the older stuff too here in a minute that we have, and I'll be pointing out quite a bit of stuff that they kind of screwed up. But look here, you see where this cup is, and then you see how that motion of the liquid that was done with some force.
I see that. For sure.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes, for sure. But see how small that is? This is after the crime. So how the hell, I guess he goes sideways?
I think he bumps it and going in and or out.
And if there's no blood on it, on the side as he bumps it, then does that mean that he gets changed before he leaves?
Do you think that maybe a glass fell and that was the loud pop that Dylan heard?
It could be, but I also think, couldn't it be the DoorDash driver taking a picture of the thing? Maybe something falls. I don't know. When there's creaks in your house or something falls and you're like, oh shit. Could it just be that she hears? Unless she really thought it was a pop, yes, that could have been something falling off, but it doesn't break or we would have saw the broken glass. But I thought that maybe that would be the DoorDash driver taking a picture of the food, because she does leave it on the front, out front. So I know they have to take a picture after they drop it off. So I was thinking maybe she saw the flash of the picture. But
A
I don't
flash of what picture?
When you get DoorDash, when they drop it off,
Oh,
the picture at the door to show that they dropped it off, so that you can't call and be like, they never dropped it off, I want my money back. So could it be that she saw the flash of the picture, and now, like you said, play Monday morning quarterbacking? Is she now looking back like, oh my gosh, was that something more sinister type thing, not realizing that it might have been a picture from DoorDash?
it could have been. It definitely could have been,
Why
because
is
her bedroom was right behind here. This is the stairway going into the second floor. You can tell because of this right here. This isn't the stairway going into the third floor. But check this out. This is a Jack in the Box cup.
Mhm. I
You think
noticed that.
maybe she ordered something, it was watered down. It's just, why would you just, I don't know. There's cans here. I don't think it's relative to that night. I strongly doubt it that she put
But why
her
would there
cup.
be a straw in it?
I don't know. I don't know. And I know some folks were looking at this. I don't think this is blood.
Me either.
This looks kind of dark, and it's also because if it was like that amount of blood and that was the because the blood that was in question from Ann Taylor was on the handrail. It wasn't on the stairs. It was on the handrail between the second floor and the first floor.
Mm-hmm.
And if you had blood here, and if this was blood from one of the victims, then you can say, hey, the perpetrator walked down the stairs. You have something to implicate that, and you would be able to implicate the DNA on the handrail, and then bada boom, bada beam, you got your third party suspect. But they couldn't get that done. So they couldn't get that done. That tells me that's not blood. That's probably mud.
Yeah, I agree. But that cup messes me up with the straw.
Yeah. So this is Maddie's their bathroom. There's a a mirror reflecting back into the hallway, and you can see some folks walking in and around.
Mm-hmm.
The entry point. I believe this is Dylan's bedroom.
I do too. I think there's eyebrows or something if you look over, and I think she was into drawing art.
There's the pictures of the faces and stuff that they showed. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
We saw this one.
I think that's Xana's room. So some people were asking like, what room's that from? I think it's Xana's room because
this one.
Yeah, because in the one picture when you look at the bed, well, first of all, that's the rug right there, Xana's rug at the top.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It is for sure, because if you go to another picture and you look at it, they have that black thing that was right there. They have it blurred out. My thing is, I wanted to ask you, that doesn't really look like a blanket. If you go back to that picture, could they have blacked that out, or does that look like an object?
Right here?
Yeah, like could they have blacked that out like with like Photoshop? Like
it looks like a dark piece of clothing, like a sweater.
Yes, it could be.
But it could be blurred out.
I was thinking, what if that's her foot or leg and they blacked it out so that nobody could see it? Like maybe the blur wasn't enough.
That could be.
She was laying with her feet facing the one way. So I'm assuming her feet would have been right there. And if you look at the other picture, that's the only thing that goes over it. So
this is at 12. I don't know, it looks like a backward 6, but I'm going to guess a 2.
Oh, it could be a 2.
2 and a 5. I don't understand why I did that.
That's weird.
Now there was let's see. Is that glass broken on the floor?
Oh. Oh, I see that. That could have been the crack that maybe Dylan hears.
It could be.
That looks like glass, Daniel. I didn't notice that before. That does look like glass. But where does it come from? It doesn't look like there's anything up on the counter that... Oh, I guess if it fell.
Yeah.
I guess it could be something like that.
Now, look, this is before they knocked down This is a picture beforehand. So this must have been how they found the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If that's 12:25, this is about 25 minutes after 911's been called. So this is shortly after. And in the images that we've seen, this pot has been knocked down, so it's still up there. And this makes more sense because it looked like they moved it back. It sounds like she just came and just dropped her bag here.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know. This kind of looks like glass to me.
It does to me too. You know, it's sad that there's a sign that says this is our happy place. That's so sad.
I know.
You see at the top of the window?
Yeah, I do see that now. I want to say thank you to Reverend Robin Newton. Warning label Nina come in with one whoa, all over the place. Drunk Turkey Show membership. Alley Books member for 11 months. Sirius Black, a member for 18 months. Thank you guys. Maggie Hayes, a new membership. And GSU PM coming in with a $10 super sticker. Thank you guys. You guys rock. So this is the hallway. Yeah, it's possible because look, there's that black sweatshirt. Then he must have stood here for a second too, for the blood to drip off the knife there.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did afterwards, looking at both of them to like, you know, see what he did, or just to even wait to see if anybody else is going to make noise before he walks out. There's a lot of reasons, I guess, that could be there. But I really do think that they black that out because they blur out the rug. And I feel like, I don't know.
Nah, this looks like material, but
okay.
Look at how close the rest of oh, there it is. Is that no, that's not blood. I thought that may have been it. No. But that's a tight corner. And it doesn't look like it looks like it's kind of moved a little bit. Like this end is sticking out more than this end. Like they bumped into it.
Now I have it like all mixed up in my head. Where's the where would he have walked to get out?
See, he would have walked. He would have walked this way to go that way, and then back this way. And he may have bumped it on the way out or in the way in.
If you look at the other picture, I think it's like in. Like I think he would have had to go around the other side of the table.
Like on this side?
Yeah, that's why I said it was like weird. Didn't you have to go sideways to get out? Not over here, but like when he goes the other way.
No, I think he went this way.
If you look at the other picture, the one where the cups that we were looking at with the beer bottle, I don't know if you go back to that real quick. All right there, the one with the cups. Right there. How would he get there?
See how this one is? It seems like it's pushed this way. I think he walked out like that and came this way. And for it to be pushed for it to be pushed this way like that, he bumped it on the way out.
How does it get back like that though?
What do you mean?
Like I don't see how he gets out of there. That's the wall.
No, there's a space between here and here. Like he can walk back here.
Yeah, normally, but it looks like the table right there is up against the wall.
Oh, it's not. There's a good amount of space.
It's not. Okay, that's why I was asking, because to me, I'm like,
yeah, look,
get through that.
You see how far it is from where the leg is here and here?
Yeah, that is a squeeze.
He had to squeeze through. And if he would have hit it going this way, he would have bumped everything this way. For it to be bumped in this direction towards over here, he must have bumped it while leaving.
Oh.
You get what I'm saying?
Kind of.
Because if he hits it going this way, it should move everything towards. It'll move everything towards this wall.
Oh, I got you.
And I think it might
knock those cups over.
Yeah. I think if he's running out this way and he bumps into it with his hip as he's leaving, he's gonna push it. He's gonna push that outer end outward towards the other part of the living room, the way it kind of.
So why don't you think there's blood on the table?
I do think there's blood on the table.
Oh, we're just not seeing it, maybe.
Yeah, we just don't see it. I think it's probably going to be along the edge
That would
of
make
the
sense.
table. Yeah. And I think that's why we don't see it. But apparently, according to some documents that are out there, there's blood on the beer pong table. And so we don't see it from this angle. It's probably on the outer edge. And that tells me that he bumped it going that direction.
I didn't know that there was blood on the table. That makes sense then, because I was like, I have to ask Daniel, like, why isn't there blood on the corner? But if he goes out the other way and there is blood, then that would make sense.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's been a lot of controversy about this one.
I don't think that there's anything nefarious about this. Let me be honest. I have pictures of my nieces doing that on my like windows, like, and I always am yelling at them. I'm like, all right, now go get the Windex because now I'm gonna have hands and a mouth. Like they'll put their mouth on it, like there's a face. I don't know. To me, this isn't nefarious. This was probably from just like somebody being like, hey, I'm here type thing, like playing a trick like my nieces would. What do you think?
To me, the only thing that's like one. The reason why I think it's kind of you definitely have to look at it is there was a burglary. Somebody did break in. They ended up using the backsliding glass door, but was that entry point number one? You know, you have to put that on the back of your mind. Was it the possibility that this person tried to open the sliding glass door? Now, I'm not a CSI guy. Steve is going to come in on Monday. He's going to answer the questions. But when we had him in the live chat the other day, he mentioned that the powder that they use would have had a different effect on the handprint. So, for instance, what the powder does when you fingerprint is it attaches to the oils left from the ridges of the skin that touch the surface, and it would have had dirt in here. And since it looks like it's been removed, it's most likely that the person that left these prints wore gloves.
I was just going to say, could it be gloves?
Yeah. Now, that could have been any type of gloves. Now, the one thing that kind of also that I noticed is if you notice right about here, it's missing the padded part of your palm, which means the hands were cupped. So they appear a lot smaller than what they are. Because if you end up putting your hands,
and you can tell that they put more pressure, like
put your hand on a flat surface, and how much does the middle of your hand have to raise up before that portion of your hand doesn't touch? And so you're looking at either somebody. I mean, it obviously could have been just somebody going boo, right? Mm-hmm. It also could have been somebody purposefully trying to make their hands smaller. You know what I mean?
Did you see that there was a face print too, though?
I don't know.
I think in the documents it says that there's 2 handprints and a face print. And if there is a face print, my thing is like if he cleaned up or like he was so careful about everything, I don't think that he would mess up on that. I mean, he could.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, if this was him, and I'm not saying it is, but if this was him, this was an attempt to open up the window. Now, one of the reasons why I think he may have attempted to open up the window and go here instead of the backsliding glass door is because this backsliding glass door was lit up. The lights all around it were lit up. So I can see him going to the dark window first just to see if it's unlocked before going to the lit up door. Right. Now, again, this could be some other time. Now, the other thing that's a little bit odd about it that are like, you can't really disclose or discard that it could be him is you have this marking here. You have this marking here. That's an indication of a long sleeve item. So we think he's wearing a jumpsuit during this time. Though that would leave those marks. So whoever left these marks was wearing long sleeve and gloves. It could have been somebody wearing a sweater and regular gloves. It could have been somebody wearing surgical gloves and a Dickies jumpsuit. I don't know.
That's interesting about the sleeve part.
So I can't wait to have Steve on. He's the one that's going to be talking about it and explaining it to us.
Yeah, that makes so much sense, though. But the sleeve part, because I was wondering what those 2 other, they look like thumbprints almost, but that makes total sense if there's a sleeve. Which would mean you'd have to push some pressure, right? Because if your sleeve's going to indent, I feel like if you just like grazed it, it might not, but I feel like there's an indent there. So maybe somebody was trying to like lift up when they put their hands on.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It could be. It definitely could be. I mean, it looks like somebody cupped their hands on top of it. That could be so that they can give the indication of a smaller handprint. It could have been purposefully done. I mean, he could have gone up to it, thinking about the whole, if the glove don't fit, you must have quit. If I
Yeah.
go and put my hands like this and make my hands look small, and
Which
if they end
wouldn't
up
be odd.
finding me,
That wouldn't be odd for him because not steals, but he takes from many.
yeah,
Right? So that wouldn't be odd if that was the case.
that's true. Now here is a door with a blood spot. If this is Kaylee's door, which I can't say it is or isn't, it could very well be. I would assume it is because Xana was kind of close to the doorway, and I would assume there might be a little bit more blood in this. Could this be an indication that if there is blood on Kaylee's door, that this was the second door? Now, this is just a small amount.
Why do you think it's Kaylee's door?
Because I don't know if it's Kaylee's door. Maybe it's Dylan's door.
I was thinking it's Maddie's door because the very next picture when they were all together is this picture almost, but like the door's open and you could see her stuff. And if you line up the blood spatters, they match. I think I could have been a different picture I was looking at and I just didn't see it. But I thought this was Maddie's door. I don't know.
It's weird because it's not elongated either.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
So it's not like gravity dropped. Because if it was falling due to gravity, it would make a little teardrop.
Yeah, that was like flicked or something on there. That's interesting.
I don't know whose door it is, but what if this is like Dylan's door?
Oh my gosh. Oh, could you imagine?
Then that means he didn't try to skip her. The door was locked when he went to check it at one point.
Oh, that would be crazy.
Or I don't know whose door, because it's, I don't know. I mean, I don't know when they discovered it either. There's no timestamp on it. But maybe you are right. Maybe it's from right here or something.
I think it's the top of this door. I think there's another picture like after this, and like you can like, but that was
look. Could that be it?
That other part on the door or no?
It's kind of close to the frame. So it would be, maybe this one. I think it's this one.
There you go.
Yeah. Solved. This one. Whose door is this? Is this the same door?
Yeah, I think so. Because look, you could see the two little spots.
Oh, yeah, right there. True story.
Which that says to me, though, if the door's shut and then it's open, was the door shut when they got there?
No, the doors were all open.
Why would they shut the door? Like, what would be the investigation point of that?
No idea. That's a good question. I have no idea. But there's a document that says when they were referring to Murphy that all the doors with the decedents remained open.
Yeah, so why would you shut the door? I guess maybe to get in so Murphy doesn't go in?
Maybe. It may have been under a second review.
Maybe. I'm thinking maybe when they're trying to coax Murphy out so that he doesn't run into that room.
Yeah. So these are some pictures that were taken early on, like very early on. As you can see, you have the lights on out here that I was talking about. You have the blood on the back there. You have the snow in the ground here. This is another day. Here you see everybody's wearing their booties.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds funny when I say it. See, this is how it would have been lit up outside of the stuff inside of the house. I mean, all this would have been turned off. But as you can see, I mean, it would make sense somebody to check one of the windows first before going underneath all these lights.
After seeing it like this, I agree with that.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's pretty lit up.
Yeah, it is. How ballsy is that? Oh my God.
And this would have been the same window. And look at how much darker it is.
And there's different stuff on the table. That is so annoying to me.
Yeah, well, this is probably a few days after, and they've started to clean out things.
All right, I hope so.
Close up of the actual blood that was dripping from the house.
I think what wall would that be in Xana's room? Isn't it do you know what wall that would be in Xana's room?
Yeah, so if you walked in, you know how it was blurred. You walked in, it'd be to the one to the left.
That's what I thought. Okay.
And that's where Ethan was. You see how in the back there was a little bit of snow and how in the front there's hardly any?
And what we watched for the first few days, a lot of it, like the media was out front. So I could see why somebody could be like, there was definitely no snow. And then somebody else be like, yes, there was. Like, you just didn't see up back. So that makes that day was horrible.
Yeah. This was them removing some of the items, and you can see where there's large amount of stains.
I couldn't believe that.
And I mean, they just threw them in the bed of a truck. Now, they were encased in this cloth.
The see-through tarp?
The what?
See-through tarp?
Yeah. Yeah. Tarp. This is Bryan Kohberger's apartment. These are the stuff that they took out of his home. There's his computer. Look at all the.
Oh, wow. That's all PPE.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, my gosh.
Look at all the stuff he had in his house.
Maybe he is a germaphobe, but I don't know how you're a germ. I don't know. He's going to have a long life in jail.
Yeah, he definitely is. He's got some people in hazmat suits. This got a drone going up. So you can see there's the bottle. There's the cup already knocked down.
Where did the bag of chips come from? Is that chips?
I don't know. I just noticed that too. They weren't in that other picture.
No, that's what I mean. That's what's annoying about this to me, because it's like, why isn't this stuff going right into an evidence bag? I don't know.
This was in. So this appears that this is probably from a leg. You know, this is probably after he has climbed over on top of Maddie and Kaylee, and so now because he was on the bed in those scenarios, all the other ones I don't think he was. I think that's whose blood this is as he's walking through. Detective Payne and some other guy. Awesome haircuts.
Yeah, right.
I agree with him. There's Ann Taylor and her assistant. See, this guy was inside here without his booties on. I thought that was. And look at where he's at. So he may be the reason why there was boot prints going way out there.
Oh, that would be like infuriating.
I would be so pissed off if that was the case too.
Did you see the thing? I think it might be this guy, or another security guard, but in the one like a YouTuber goes up and says that he's like, I forget who he says he was, but this dude, like the security guard, like takes him through the back and all, like almost as if.
Oh yeah. That was
Frig.
That was some news team, but that was they'd closed down for a minute. But yeah, he did take him behind the scenes, so to speak.
Oh my gosh, that was crazy.
Yeah, now there was some things about this that really upset me when I was going through these pictures the very first time, because I've had that's all of them. Like, man, I thought I had some more. And like, for instance, right here, they used the stools inside to make sure that the door was closed.
That's like, if they have somebody there 24/7 watching it, they don't really need that, right? Because there should be somebody there 24/7 making sure nobody goes in.
But here's the problem with that I have more so than anything else is that is the exit point. We know that's the exit point. He just ran by those items. He would have had just committed. Let's pull this up real quick. He would have just committed a quadruple homicide. And so look, this is why a lot of people think there was no snow, because there's hardly any up front. There's all the media and everybody there. But you'll see where there's police officers directing traffic over here. But as you can see further on in the back, there is. But up front, yeah, it looks completely empty of snow. But the further back behind the place, you get more. And this is when Idaho State Police arrived. They're doing their thing. You see there's police right here. They're blocking off traffic.
Did we ever find out where the cowboy people came from? The ones that they called the cowboy investigators?
I suspect that those guys were the covert FBI agents. Remember, they were talking during one of the court hearings that they were They were wanting to take the camera off of certain people.
Gotcha.
One of the persons that they that prosecution asked for was for some some FBI agents that work covert. I felt like those were probably them.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but yeah, 100%. You know, there's, like I said, there's a lot of things, and I think we'll be able to see here and what I was pointing out, if I remember correctly. And thank you, Warning Label Nina, for sending this to me. You see right there the way the stools are?
Yeah. They used it to keep the door shut, right?
Yeah. Like, that pissed me off because he's running out. He was already exerted himself. If he's sweating or if he's anything, the likelihood of him leaving DNA behind is on his way out, which is the reason why. And I said this a long time ago. I said this when I first saw this 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago now. When I first saw that these stools were there, I was like, look, the likelihood of this person to leave DNA behind is on his way out because he's exerted himself. He's sweaty. He's already done everything. You use the 2 pieces of evidence that he would have had to have ran by as props to keep the door shut. And I think that was stupid. I'll be honest with you. I thought it was stupid then. And, you know, we found out later that he leaves the back sliding glass door open. And I tell people then he's leaving the glass door open because that's his entry and exit point. It's the most likely logical place he's going to leave DNA behind because he's already exerted himself. If he left the back sliding glass door open, it was because he was knowledgeable about DNA and didn't want to leave his DNA behind. And I said this like almost 3 years ago when this crime happened. And
yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Did you see the document yet that it had like the swabs and everything and the refrigerator breaks? I read all of these documents, right? And I was like, oh my God, did Daniel see this? So there's a document and a refrigerator breaks and the
oh yeah,
right. But did you see all of those things that were in there? That so my thing is, like, if this went to trial, would all of that been contested? Because and it was literally everything you could tell because it was 4 different people's, like everything. It was like right fingernail, left fingernail, and then down a little bit, right fingernail. I'm like, oh my God, would they have been able to be like, you know, all of this is now contaminated? Because they had to move it all to a different refrigerator.
I would have challenged it. I think it would have been challenged in court, you know, and I would have, I don't think they would have gotten it thrown out, but I think they would have challenged it. They probably would have brought in their own experts to kind of testify to the fact that of how that could have had an effect. But I think fortunately it was so late that a lot of the work and the tests had been done on all those things. And so like all those things would have been documented. You know what I mean? Because I think it happened late, but even more so, they ended up giving Dylan property, and then that was evidence and had to go back and get it back.
That was crazy.
And the thing is too, so I'm aware of some other stuff that I haven't shown, and I'm not going to. I have seen part of some of these items that were in the crime scene that were given back to the families. One of them was some pairs of shoes and some of the furniture. But the shoes that I saw were Ethan's shoes, and there was blood on them that were consistent with somebody coughing up blood. And so, you know, I had been saying, and I've been telling people, I was like, hey, look, Howard Bloom says that somebody got their throat cut 100% based on the information that I've seen, that was what it was. And we saw that. I actually sent it to Steve from True Crime Web. He looked at it. He's the one that actually determined that it was from blood being coughed up. And the one thing we couldn't understand is why law enforcement released that property to the families.
No, that's heartbreaking. Even when you have Steve one.
But it's like, evidence.
It's evidence. And even the trash can, didn't they say that they got the trash can back and they didn't even look at it? Like there could have been evidence in that.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much that they dropped the ball on, in my opinion. And, you know, Steve has a right to be very to criticize them, to be critical of them. And I understand why, and I agree with him across the board. I mean, they were chasing down this. They really were thinking that this was some sort of Mexican cartel thing for the longest time until the FBI came in and slapped them with the truth.
I agree with that.
And I'm like, what part of this screams out? You find a rolled up $2 bill and some crushed up Adderall, and you think that this is somehow affiliated with drugs? Are you freaking kidding me?
No. And then people were thinking because of like parents and stuff. I was like, that's not how it works. They would go get the parent, not the kid. Like it just the whole thing never made sense to me. And they usually take credit.
There's a message, and usually the message is loud and clear.
Yeah, and it's like, we did it. Hello.
Yeah.
Why? So I never agree with that either.
And even if there's not, like, what they'll do is they'll send somebody and they'll take responsibility for it so they can get heat off of them. It's a common tactic that the cartels did. There was a situation where these people in North Carolina or from North Carolina went to Mexico, ended up getting shot up. I think 2 of them died or 1 of them died. And the cartel ended up sending somebody over saying, hey, this is who was responsible for it. They did it, not part of this. We don't want any problems. Here are these people. Now, the heat was on the cartel. So if the cartel had something to do with it, heat coming back, it's bad for business, right? To have police looking at you like that. Mm-hmm. And so, I wouldn't be surprised if there was something that they would have, like, and it sounds weird to say, but turned in the guy and said, hey, this guy did this, even if it wasn't the real guy, you know what I mean? Just so they can get the heat off of them. Yeah. I've seen it a handful of times where the cartel will send somebody and everybody's like, yeah, I don't think that's actually the guy that did it. But this guy's claiming he did something, and they probably paid his family fairly well. And he's going to go to prison for somebody else. So that way they can also take the heat off of their, activity and stuff. So those things happen. And
people have to remember, these are like young adults. They weren't, they didn't have a whole lot of experience with a lot of stuff. Like, didn't Dylan just celebrate her 19th birthday like the week before? So I think a lot of people have to keep that in mind. Like, I know that it's hard to remember when we were 18 or 19 years old, but even if you have a kid, a grandkid that's around that age, like if you put them in this situation, I wouldn't expect my 17-year-old to know exactly what to do. And I would also expect that she wouldn't understand or wouldn't think that it was something so nefarious in that situation. Like, that just makes sense to me. So I don't understand how it doesn't to others.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh. You know what? Let me see. So look, there's the footprints. Nina just pointed this out. Footprints there.
Here, wait, we don't.
And then she's pointing something else out.
We don't see the picture.
Oh, my bad.
No problem.
Thank you, Mark. So let me rewind a little bit. Nina was pointing this out. You have the footprints right here in the snow coming from around the back. They kind of, one thing I noticed that kind of screamed Bryan Kohberger to me about those footprints.
What?
Is that they're very straight.
I thought about it, how they're going in and out. That's very mechanical. So I did think that. So that would go along with that. Like how he goes in one way and comes out the exact same way.
Yeah. Super boom, boom, boom. Like, it's very straight line. He's not very direct. If it's him. I mean, I want to say thank you also to C Joy, and also thank you again to Mark for coming in and supporting again. And then she's pointing out something over here underneath. It's the trash and stuff. Crazy stuff. But yeah, no, those footprints to me look very mechanical, like you mentioned, robotic almost.
That's what would make me think that they're him. And I think they were able to follow them around, I think, towards, going backwards to where it would be as if he went up the, the trees and stuff and parked up in the back, which is what I think they think he did, right?
Yeah. No, they think he parked back there somehow or somewhere.
It's crazy.
Well, Dr. Vona, I've had you on here for an hour and 20 minutes. I want to say thank you. Do you have anything coming up this week that you want to plug into everybody?
You ask me this all the time, and you would think that the next time I came on that I'd have a better answer than I do all the time. And the truth is, right now I'm getting ready to go back to school. I just had a family member pass. So I don't have anything necessarily planned, but everybody that follows me knows that I'll send out a post and then I could go live. But if anybody misses it, I do apologize. So I really don't know what I'm doing next. But hopefully people go to my page and subscribe. That's all I ask for right now. And I will be going live. I just don't know exactly when. Next time I come on here, I'm going to have a better answer for that. I promise I'll have a better answer.
Yes. And guys, go check her channel out. It is linked in the description already. And if you guys don't know where it's at, it is The Minds Behind True Crime with Dr. Vona. She's got 2.18 K subscribers. Let's get her up to 5K, guys. Let's get this going. There's 3,700 of you guys in here watching. So if each one of you guys go in there, it's pretty close. Oh, well, actually, we get her over there. So let's go over there. Let's subscribe and the whole 9 yards. Until probably Monday when I have Steve from True Crime Web. I'll see you guys next time. Y'all be safe. Have a good weekend. And go Steelers.
I'll go Eagles. Don't listen to him.